On day 21, we'll leave Idaho Falls and drive to Yellowstone Bear World. We'll then drive over through Arco to see the Craters of the Moon National Monument, drive around through it, see Goodale's Cutoff, and then drive to Boise for the night. We leave Idaho Falls heading north. Soon we're arriving at Yellowstone Bear World, where we'll spend the next few hours. We'll be driving through the park area 3 different times, and we'll compile all of those into one. First we'll look at the hooved animals on this side, and then the bears on this side, before heading to the petting zoo and shopping area. First we'd stop at the gift shop to check on our tickets for feeding the bears, and then off we go into the compounds. These are Rocky Mountain elk, and the white ones are an albino version. As we drive on around, we come to a pen that's been fenced in, and inside that are the mountain goats. On around further, we come to the bison area. Over there on one of the fence tops, that's a golden eagle, and also some magpies with it. Driving on further, we come to the white-tailed deer area, and there's one crossing the road now. There are several fawns in this area. Next, it's time to leave the hoofed animals and go through this gate, where we'll be in the bear enclosure. Yes, we'll be driving where the bears are. We're the ones in the cage this time. First up are the grizzly bears. There's a couple here, and they're kind of kept from the black bears by this electric fence. And now we enter the black bear area, and they're all over everywhere. Along the way we come to a bear jam, and he's just going to sit there and wait for us to go around him. The ranger's feeding him honey. He's still there and hadn't moved, second time around. Now it's time to leave the bear enclosure and to head through this gate onto other things to look at. As we come out, there are some moose sitting beside the road. We'll now be visiting the gift shop and also the petting zoo and bear feeding. Here we find the crop of cubs from this year. There's 6 of them all together. They are separated from their mothers at birth because the male bears will kill them. You see, when a female has a cub, she's not in heat, but she'll come into heat when she loses that cub, so the males will kill them so they can mate with her. And here's Deborah trying to pick out which one she wants to feed. She'll end up feeding most of them. Oh no, bear attack, bear attack. And there's a pot-bellied pig. And now we come to a pot-bellied pig and a pot-bellied preacher. Wow, they look a lot alike. And Deborah harassing white-tailed deer. And here's a white-tailed deer harassing Deborah. It's good to have our ducks all in a row. And then we go over and look in the water, and there's some rainbow trout. The swans are using their long necks to feed on the vegetation at the bottom. And as we look over at the black bear enclosure, there are bears being fed by people. In the high truck, they can't get up there. And there's another way to feed the bears, the baby bears. And Deborah's going to do that. Here she is getting her instructions about how to do it. Then off we go to the cub enclosure, and she's going to get to feed. And in fact, here she is right now. They will get to feed several of the bears as time permits and as their hunger goes. And here's her souvenir. And after we feed the bears, it's time for us to eat at the Hungry Bear Cafe. Some hamburgers and fries. and the bears just sack out when they're full. Now it's time to leave Yellowstone Bear World and to head over to Craters of the Moon National Monument and Preserve. As we've noticed in several other places, they're starting to gather a whole lot of hay. They've got a long winter and a lot of cows to feed. Now we're passing through Arco, the first nuclear-powered town. This was the first town to have nuclear power to run it. We intended to go by the EBR-1 reactor, but it was closed for the season. It is a national monument also, and this is what we would have seen if we'd have went there. This is the first nuclear power station. And they put up this sign, all the electricity now used is from atomic power, and this is a rocket engine they were developing, but never really worked out. And now we head on toward Craters of the Moon National Monument and Preserve. As we look out in the distance, it looks like some volcanic cones. And here we come to the sign starting the park. This is a large basaltic lava field that was created when the Great Rift split open and poured lava out into this area, and has now been preserved as a national monument and preserve. The only other place you could see lava like this in the United States is in Hawaii, actually. At the Visitor Center, we're going to be learning more about this area created by the hotspot that is now under Yellowstone National Park. We'll be following the loop road in its one-way around as we go. Through here's the Great Rift. This split open and lowered both ways out, and you can see the results of that lava as it has flown here. As we drive on around, we come to our first stop, the North Crater Flow Trail, where we can look out over the flow and how it happened here. Notice the lava bomb here. Those are big rocks sitting on top of the lava that was blown out by lava. If one of these had fallen on you, you'd have been incinerated instantly. And now we can see the rocks as they surround us. We keep on driving around the loop road. Next we pull over and watch various kids and their teachers out exploring in this area. Here we notice the lava bombs. You can see one here. You can see another one here that fell. The AA lava, this lava is kind of thick and bubbles up like this, leaving a rough surface. And the Pahoehoe lava that's real thin and flat like this as it flows. The only other place again to see these is if you were to go to Hawaii. Lava started welling up here from the Great Rift on the Snake River Valley about 15,000 years ago, and the last flow was about 2,000 years ago. But scientists expect more to happen in the future. As we drive on around, we come to the Devil's Orchard Nature Trail. and I'm going to be hiking it for a while. It was made by that lava flow, and it's a circular trail, so I'll come back pretty well to where I began. Let's get started. You'll see many of the trees here, which are limber pines, that have started to grow within the lava flow. I found it interesting, as the trees died, they leave these trunks laying everywhere. All along, the rocks will be splattered with different types of lichen in different colors. I also see lots of dwarf buckwheat. They're regularly spaced because their roots can be up to 3 feet around, and the white leaves reflect the sunlight, keep them cooler. In the trees, we also see what are called witches' brooms, caused by mistletoe growing in the trees. A gray squirrel is angry that I'm out here and is chirping at me. Next, we drive to Inferno Cone. This is a cinder cone. When lava that flows out of the volcano has a lot of air in it, it creates cinders that then pile up like this to create a cinder cone. When lava flows around an area but not into it, it's called a kapuka. And here we see a round hill that the lava went around it, creating a unique environment. Here's a shield volcano, a flattish volcano, and here's the Paisley Cone, which is another volcanic cone here. There's volcanoes everywhere. And now we're going to the Spatter Cone. These mark the Great Rift and the end of its life. What it is at the end, it's splashing out fairly thick lava in splatters, and it splatters all over, making small cones like this. And we're going to go look at a couple of them. As we climb up the path to the top, you can see the splattering of lava all around it as it is decorated the sides of the cones and flowed lava out around from them. There's a row of 4 or 5 right along that great rift. And you can see lots of lichen on the rocks. In the bottom of the cone is ice. It's there all year round. Some say this is from the last ice age. Others say it's more recent. Then as we drive on around, we look at more of the lava flows and the plants that are starting to grow back up on top of them. Next we come to the cave trail. We go exploring some of the caves, which are actually lava tubes, where lava used to flow through, dissolving the rock. And now we're about to finish our loop and head back to the Vista Center. Soon we'll be leaving Craters of the Moon National Monument and Preserve. As we drive toward Boise, we come to Goodall's Cutoff. You can see where it is on the map here. This was a way to bypass some of the Indian violence down south by going around the lava fields here. You can see the road that would have been here. It was used from 1820 till after the Civil War. And now we're heading on to Boise for the night. In order not to have flagmen, they use these stoplights on each end of a construction area, and that allows them to control the one-way traffic back and forth. And now it's our turn to go. Soon we're arriving at Comfort Inns and Suites in Boise, where we'll spend the next few nights, thus ending day 21.